Welcome everyone to our roadmap webinar today. We're so glad that you could all gather with us. We appreciate when you let us know who you are, whether that's in the chat or by renaming yourself in the participant list. We like to know who our friends are, and it also helps me assign credits to you for those of you who are pursuing certification. With that, we have a number of panelists who are joining us today, and we like to honor their words and their experience, and we are so grateful for them sharing their expertise around library programming today in particular. So with that, Corey, take it away.
Hi, everybody. Nice to see you online today. This webinar today is one in a series that we've done about the elective roadmap to library excellence. It's been a few months. We've taken the summer off, but we are highlighting each area in the roadmap. We ask you on the standards, which were just due a few weeks ago, an optional question to see if you would like to share ways that your library has demonstrated excellence in a few different ways or in a few different areas. And today that area is programming. On the roadmap that is available on our website under the library development and then the directors tab, the roadmap has a really great visual to show either visual in like Karn style or in more of a straightforward spreadsheet style that gives some suggestions. But when we ask you to report these things on the standards, these are just suggestions. If you have other ways that you've demonstrated excellence in, like for example today, programming, we want to hear about those too, and it's totally optional, like we said, but it's a really awesome way to tell your state library what you're doing that you're really proud of, and if you're lucky, we'll even ask you to be a panelist on a webinar. We have one more webinar for the roadmap in about a month on September 9th, but today we're focusing on programming. I am a former library programmer, so I feel really passionately about this. Bobby DeMontney from the State Library has gathered a really excellent panel for us today. She's a lifelong learning librarian and does so much programming, especially right now as we're wrapping up summer reading, focusing a lot on early literacy in addition to so many other things. She also has brought Marilyn Bennett on board from the State Library to talk about the Talking Book program and other great programs that the State Library offers. And Annika Reisner from Bighorn Library. Thank you. I was going to say Bicentennial, but I knew that wasn't right. That's enough out of me. If you have more questions about your actual roadmap, you can always ask your consulting team. You can ask anybody on the consulting and learning team, but definitely communicate with your consultants. We love to hear about things, and we'd love to give credit where credit is due and highlight some of the awesome things that are being done out the state. So I'll stop talking.
And I'll start. Hey, everybody. I am going to share my screen in just a minute. I'll leave the roadmap up just so I can go over the three parts here. So the three sections in programming, the three objectives, level 1, 2, 3, how they've got that on there is first one, everyone has access to programming that reflects community needs and interests. The second one is children and caregivers have access to early literacy programming through the library. And the third is everyone can create and develop content because of programming or technology offered by the library. This may be tech-based like a makerspace or as simple as an arts and crafts or writing group. And now I'm going to share my screen. Okay. You should be seeing my lifelong learning page. Is that what you guys can see? Yeah, okay. All right, so MSL programming can help you meet these objectives because we have programming and resources for all ages. This is the front page of my lifelong learning page. I've recently reorganized this, hopefully to make it a little easier for you guys to get around in there. And when it comes to programming for all ages, we have Beanstack, the reading tracker. It's for all ages. We have some targeted programming also for early childhood, but it applies to everybody. We have the virtual plug and play programming and trunks that I'll show you, financial literacy, and there's the summer reading program, and of course, creative aging in early childhood, but I'm going to show you those in context with those other two objectives. So Beanstack is an app that your community members can sign up to use. They can either download the app on their phone and search for Beanstack and search for Montana within Beanstack to sign up. All of our libraries are part of Beanstack now with our recent funding to incorporate this program. And within it, we have early literacy, and then we're just wrapping up things that can help people track their minutes or books read for summer reading. But it does apply to all ages, and we encourage folks to use it. It's super cool, and we've got it for 3 years at least. We want to hopefully keep it going, but for right now, we've got it good for 3 years, and that's pretty solid. So that is a good way to incorporate all ages programming that is a very low lift for you. You just tell people about it. If you have any questions about using it on the back end or anything, I've got some training videos and stuff that I can share with you. Another all ages one I want to show you would be our MLN virtual programming and virtual trunks. This is more adult oriented. Kids might be kind of bored with some of these topics, but they are of high interest to adults. First one will be September 25th, Montana's native plants. And then on October 28th for Bat Week, we're going to be talking about pollinators. So each one of these, as it comes up, will get a landing page for signups. And if you are interested in hosting one of these, please let me know. I can send you the survey link in order to sign up as an interested library. I just put that in my lifelong learning newsletter. So if you're not subscribed to that, please do subscribe. That gives you all of the links to sign up for all of this great stuff that I'm trying to push out. And with certain funding parameters, I'm trying to push out a lot really fast. So it's important for you to stay informed. And then the virtual trunks, these are plug and play programs that you can use. It has everything you need to do a program around these different areas. And we also have another one coming soon. By the end of the week, I will have something up for Good Neighbor Day. I think it's Good Neighbor Day. So that will be coming up here very soon as well. But any one of these that you click on will give you everything that you need to do a program in your library. The financial literacy tour has already begun. There is a 2025 workshop schedule now posted, and anytime that I have partners that I can work with to do something like this, I will put a request out, usually very far in advance, to find out who is interested. And in this case, they pointed out a portion of Montana that they were willing to do a big circle in, and then I reached out to see about interest in some of these areas, and that's how I got this group. And as long as they have funding to keep doing it, they're going to reach out to me each year for whichever part of the state they want to be in, and I will reach out to those libraries. And so yeah, if you see something from me in that way, respond right away and make sure you can get on the list and take part of some of this programming. And now I will talk about the early childhood programming and resources. When it comes to early lit, I've been super busy with programming, and I would love for you to share this stuff with your community and find ways to participate. It totally will help you meet these programming objectives. Couple of things I've been working on with the early literacy grant are going live. One is a texting program. Anyone in Montana with a little one between the ages of 0 and 4 can text MSL to 70138 and get started with receiving texts about things to get their kids ready for school and early learning. We have Books Before Bedtime. It is a virtual series for families and caregivers with kids between the ages of 0 and 5. Registration is open. In fact, It went live and the September 9th program spots are already all filled. But if you have people in your community you want to share this with, if they sign up by September 17th, they'll get their book box to read along with us on October 7th. This can be one of your library programs just by promoting it out there to the community. It's a free story time. It'll be held once a month and it's designed for a bedtime routine. It's going to be at 7 p.m. The October 7th book is Hot Dog and it's read by Molly Malloy at the Miles City Public Library. And that's the one that people are registering for right now. And there's a link and a QR code. And then I've got a link for flyers if you want to print those out and share them with your community. Other things you can participate in are 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten. We have the Ready to Read website that you can point outward to families. And then there's, of course, DPIL, and there's links to find your program on that if you're trying to help families get signed up. Last thing before I turn it over is creative aging. We talked about having creative programming in your library, and we have selected 3 sites for 2025. Again, this was a thing where about a year ago, I reached out in the newsletter and asked, hey, are you interested in doing this? Would you like to have an artist come to your library and teach a workshop? We got some responses. We found some artists that we connected those sites with, and we were able to secure some funding to help fund the program for them for 2025. So again, keep an eye on that newsletter, and that is where you're going to see all of these requests. I often put them in the MLN news as well, but yeah, just stay on top of that kind of communication if you want to participate in these things. I don't want to linger too much longer on all of that because I would like to leave time for Annika. Let me see if anyone's asked any questions, and then I'll turn it over. There is lots of great comments. Thank you, Colette, for the newsletter link. And these all look wonderful. Thank you, Kim. All right, with that, please give it up for Annika. Annika is the director of the Bighorn County Library and has been really rocking her programming and has come to talk about it. And I will turn off my mic and it's all yours.
Thank you, Bobby, so much. So yes, I'm Annika. I'm from the Bighorn County Library. I've been director for, I think it's almost 7 months. It's felt like a little bit longer through many of the things that I have tried to achieve and overcome. Like many of you, I was given a building that had not been taken care of in so many different avenues, and specifically throughout our programming. One of the things that I came on to originally was the children's librarian, which was sadly neglected for several years, and none of our story times nor our after school activities or summer reading programs had been consistent for about 8 to 10 years. So when I came on board, most of my community, which even though Bighorn County has 13,000 people that we service, is still very tight-knit and very small town-ish. So if anything was negative about our programs, it rippled for like the decade. So what I started with the children's program was just trying to be consistent. And that's going to be my key through most of this is remember consistency is key, even though it can be hard, but you need to be consistent with anything that you deliver to your community because they're really seeing you as the model. And so at first activities were slow being introduced. I had to apologize for so many different situations that I didn't even understand at first until at least this last year. So I always say is be patient with yourself, be patient with what you're delivering because you never know what it's going to become. So I started consistently delivering story time every Wednesday at the same time, the same types of activities, not necessarily, of course, the same books or the same activities, but the same motor skills so that the individuals were knowing what they were expecting from my program. Afterward, I created an older children after school activity that was geared for all ages because at least in our community, we have a lot of older siblings babysitting younger siblings. And then being a sibling of 4, I also knew how important it was to have something that all ages could adjust to and be able to participate in. And so that was fantastic. As a children's librarian, I brought back 6,000 families within my first summer, which was great, but also crazy. Now, again, consistently trying to keep those programs up was exhausting, and trying to come up with new ideas was also exhausting, but it's doable. And then trying to make sure that I kept, I would say, the consistent activity days, making sure that it was the same schedule across the board, that was successful with the turnover. And then you can never talk enough. You can never display flyers enough. You can never advertise enough. You can never be involved enough. So I started to just talk to daycares. Then I started talking to different boards throughout the community, museum boards, the chambers, the county commissioners, the city halls, practically anywhere that people gathered, I started infiltrating. So that every time I would go in there, I would start by first finding out who they were, what their important avenues were, what they were hoping to seek out of the individuals who were participating in their conferences, their boards, or just their meetings. And then I just started dropping off flyers. And everybody has a family member, so everybody was able to learn. And then also displaying my information at post offices. Every single city in our county has a post office. So just trying to get that information out, trying to make sure that was there, continued to help me excel through the children's programs. Now, as director, totally different animal. So any directors out there know where I'm coming from. Going from children's librarian to the director was good, but also hard because I was trying to gear my mind to creating adult programming versus family orientated children's programming. Again, small town minds also have hard time adjusting. So it was very hard for them to accept the fact that I was director now and not just the children's librarian. So my programs were gearing towards individuals that had been forgotten in our community, such as our unhoused, our veterans, and etc., so that we were able to reach those people. But I also wanted to make sure I was still paying attention to the Friends of the Library, my book clubs, and all of those infiltrated communities that I had been trying to collaborate with this last so many times. And I still wanted more. Now, everybody wants more. So my next step was trying to get authors into my library for the adults, and also adult programs and activities like gardening classes, writing classes. And the way that I started to do that was just by talking to these people that I've already met and made relations with, and just asking, like, what's your passion? What are you into? Would you be willing to host an activity? Would you be willing to teach others that common passion that you're talking about? And most people don't really say no when you start talking about what they're into. And you start saying, oh, so many people would love to learn that. And so many of my programs started with volunteers. And then I've been moving into more book hostings and readings, which, to tell the truth, I started to troll a location here in Billings called the House of Books, who was already hosting readings and author introductions and new book hostings to find out what they were already doing. I also started to connect with many of the directors, looking on their websites, seeing what they had, and then found, well, if this author is going to be in Billings, it's 40 miles away from my library. How can I get that person to my library? And I've opened a floodgate. Now, again, I said earlier I was able to bring 6,000 families, and that's families, not people, back into the library. So I've been already achieving what I didn't think was possible with these adult programs, but it's just by expecting, there is a no out there, but that's the only answer that's going to be negative. So now I've been hosting 2 authors a month and continuously hosting new activities for the senior citizens. Some of the authors that I was able to correspond with in these last few months, like Elaine Koyama, they're going to come back and host writing classes for our library. We have a lot of senior citizens involved with different extension agencies throughout MSU and also the county officials who will be hosting activities for the library too. And then community relations, talking to the health department, seeing if they have anything happening or any place that they can bring it into the library. Because even though it doesn't seem like it can become a program, sometimes there's a way to still get people into your library, even if you're just in the background hosting a book reading. And so that's it in a nutshell. and I will leave it for questions and mute myself.
I do see one
Go
in the
ahead, Bob.
chat. Oh, sorry. Are you able to get people to sign up for stuff on Zoom in winter months? It seems our community is afraid of online stuff and I'm struggling to get them over it.
So I absolutely have had troubles trying to get, at least here in Montana, the infrastructure for technology is so far behind what I'm originally used to in Oregon. So I'm a transplant. And it's been quite hard for me because Facebook is outdated in Oregon, and that is the main avenue that I advertise with. And then I do come into contact with many individuals who just flat out refuse to learn how to use a computer. So I am trying to create an online basis for our library, but as of the moment, we do not host any type of online activities except through the state library with Bobby, only because we don't have enough individuals in our county that actually have service. Most of those hotspot devices that were utilized for the libraries were so useful for our area that when we lost those devices, many cities no longer even have Wi-Fi. And so that's my problem, is that the infrastructure in the county is just terrible. And most of the citizens don't have sustainable or even consistent internet. So I don't usually host online activities, but what we have done to help achieve the distance problem, because Bighorn County is enormous, is creating library closets. So we have miniature libraries that are in every single city, or are working to be in every single city, that host similar activities that we host inside of our hub library, but by volunteers located in every single town. So there's a local individual who hosts story time, a local individual who hosts the summer reading program, the ones who circulate the books and everything else. And every single month we have one librarian go in and circulate and supply activities and items to that library. So unfortunately, I wish we were a little bit more technologically advanced in the county, but we're just not there yet. But that doesn't mean that you or I should deter from that. It's that we create it, it's there, but we try to provide still every accessible point for something. So digital and printable, if that makes sense.
Annika, thank you so much. That is incredible to hear about. Marilyn, would you like to talk about some of the programs that you offer?
Sure. So
Great.
my name is Marilyn Bennett, and I manage the Montana Talking Books program through the state library. Before we get started, I'm going to drop some things in the chat. Hopefully this works. Come on, there we go. Okay, so I dropped the link to our website, and then also a informational flyer for the Talking Books program. All right, so in case no one is aware, or someone is not aware in this meeting, the Montana Talking Books provides free reading materials in accessible formats to Montanans who are unable to use standard print materials due to visual, physical, and/or reading disabilities. The library provides audio, braille, and large print books and magazines. Materials are available for direct download or sent through the U.S. Postal Service. So there are some easy ways to incorporate our services into your programming. Libraries can apply to have equipment and books on hand for demonstration purposes. This could be something like a technology petting zoo where you demonstrate the services. Another way would be to add accessibility to book clubs. So if anyone struggles to read regular print, they could sign up for an account and more easily read book club books. We don't have every book, but we do have around 400,000 titles in our collection, and there's an emphasis on adding popular titles. Also, if you have a large population, a large population of people who would be eligible for our services, you can encourage them to make their own book club. Each person could sign up for their own device and books, and that would be an easy way to have everyone read the same book, and then they could gather in your library and discuss the book. Another way is to have some brailled children's books in your collection. So sometimes they're called twin vision books, but they're basically like a regular children's book, but they have braille added to the book so that, like, say a child who's struggling with their vision, who's learning braille, can read alongside their parents. So the child can read the braille and the parent can read the English that's included. And then also these books are really good for adults who are learning to read braille. There's things like braille Legos and accessible toys. Like there's soccer balls that beep or jingle, so you can tell where they are in the room, that kind of thing. So those would be fun to add to story times too, not only for children who are struggling with their sight, but also for sighted kids to understand, what braille is, what accessible toys are, that kind of thing, and just be introduced to that kind of subject. I'm also working on my own trunk idea. It's going to be a blind and low vision trunk. It'll have things like braille Legos and like the accessible toys that I mentioned earlier. Hopefully I'll have something within a year. I'm working on it pretty hard right now, but those would be available for libraries to request. So that is pretty much it. So feel free to contact me with questions or any ideas. I'd love to discuss really any idea with you guys and see if we can help you put it together.
Thank you, Marilyn. I wanted to also point out that you can talk to your consultants about the Talking Book program. Marilyn is kind of a department of one, and does a ton. So consultants are always willing and able to help connect her with libraries on the ground so that you guys can get this going for your communities. And also, I think a little known thing that libraries don't realize is that they can certify for people to access the Talking Book Library. Marilyn, can you speak a little bit about that?
Yes, sure. So every individual application has a section called Certifying Authority, and that basically just means that the person who signs that is certifying that this person does have this disability or, blindness, low vision, physical or reading disability. And librarians can certify that. So if you are talking to your patrons and you find people who would be eligible for our services, you are more than able to fill out that section of the application. And I'm very happy that that actually changed like within a couple years ago, just because it's so much easier for people to be able to, visit their local library than maybe get a doctor's appointment or something like that. Because previously it had to be a doctor or, professional kind of thing like that. So now with librarians being able to certify, hopefully it's a lot easier for people and more people can get signed up easily.
Thank you. That's great. Mary and Juliet asked a good question. What about patrons who cannot navigate to technology to listen on Libby?
So we have an app called Bard, but we also have a physical player that comes to your home, and those generally are pretty easy. We have two types of players. One is more advanced, but we do have one that is pretty simple. All these players are made specifically for people who have they might have arthritis, or they might, they might have some problems with their hands or something like that. Each of the buttons on the player, if you push it, it'll tell you what it is. And each button is shaped in a different way. And so it is pretty easy to learn the player and to know where the buttons are and what the buttons are. And so that seems to be a little bit easier for people who don't like technology and don't want to use a smartphone or something like that. So we have both options though.
That is excellent. Thank you. I don't think anybody else has had put in questions in the chat about talking books, but if you have other questions about talking books, please, now would be a great time to ask those, and we have the expert with us. I can also share a little bit about Good Neighbor Day that's coming up to kind of shift a little bit. If questions come in, please ask them and we will pivot back to those. But Bobby mentioned that it's going to be a trunk coming on the website, but you don't have to wait for the trunk. We are newly supporting Good Neighbor Day, which is actually a national holiday. You know how there's like National Donut Day, National Pretzel Day. Those are not official holidays. National Good Neighbor Day is an actual official holiday. It was created by a woman from Lakeside, Montana, which I think is really cool, in the 1970s. And then President Jimmy Carter made it a national holiday in 1978. And the idea is just to become neighborly, be friendly, and fight the epidemic of loneliness that has been plaguing our country since the 70s, at least, because the 70s is when things were starting to become noticed as far as neighborly awareness. So our trunk is really just promoting Good Neighbor Day. I'm going to drop some links in the chat right now. This is the Good Neighbor Day website. I'll include, they have a link for libraries because they recognize that libraries are already community centers, centers for connection, places where people gather and can say hello and are inviting and welcoming. So they have a guide that I will drop in here as well. You can ask for it to be shared with you from Good Neighbor Day, or I can share it with you. But the guide has tons and tons of programs, program ideas specifically for libraries to highlight Good Neighbor Day. They also have really cute coloring pages so that you can set that out for a youth area, but they really do focus on programs of all ages, and the idea is to make it as simple as possible. It doesn't have to cost a lot of money, it doesn't have to cost anything, but it can be kind of awkward, so they've got some ideas to kind of eliminate that barrier of awkwardness of just being like, I'm just being friendly and just a good neighbor. And that's what's unfortunate, right, is that we've gotten to a point in society where people think there might be an alternate motive if somebody's just being a friendly neighbor. But Good Neighbor Day falls on September 28th every year. This year, that's a Sunday, so I don't know how many libraries will be doing programming specifically on that day, but the programs do not have to be held on that day. They can be held in the fall, they can be held anytime during the year. Being a good neighbor is really a perennial evergreen thing. I was a former programming librarian at Bozeman Public Library, and I can't remember what year, I think 2021, partnered with the city's Parks and Rec department, the city's neighborhoods department, which is now called something else, I believe, community development. And we held a block party on the west side of Bozeman. The library and many community spaces are all on the east side of Bozeman, and a lot of the growth has happened on the west side. So we held a block party in a park. The recreation department brought their rec mobile, which has lots of fun outdoor lawn games and activities. The library brought their bookmobile. We got a food truck to come make pizzas. We hired a live band, and just the idea was just to pop up in a community. We knocked on doors and handed out flyers in that neighborhood, but then promoted it to the larger community. It was sort of in conjunction with hopeful expansion onto the west side, which did not happen. And it being in late September, it was really, really cold, which is kind of not something we could plan for, but we still had really fun turnout and a really great time. And people who lived in that neighborhood were really happy to see something happening in their park kind of specifically for them, because like I said, the library is really like a few miles away, which in rural areas, a few miles is nothing. But Bozeman traffic has made a few miles seem like LA. Just kidding. I also wanted to highlight another library in Montana who's done Good Neighbor Day programming. Is the Choteau County Library. The Geraldine branch held programs a few years ago in conjunction with Good Neighbor Day. And it was really just kind of drop in, have a cup of coffee, do a community puzzle, all kinds of fun stuff like that. So I just wanted to highlight that this Good Neighbor Day promotion is coming. It's really, really fun, and it would be really fun to get Montana on board with something that started in Montana. I don't feel like a lot of people know about it, but it's really, it's just a fun low stakes holiday and a really easy, low hanging fruit to program around. And that's all I really have to say about Good Neighbor Day. We're also asking if you are interested in participating, and you want a little support. We have a pledge form if you're interested in committing to participating in Good Neighbor Day. And I'm hopeful to create a group that builds on this in the future. So I'll drop that pledge form in here if you're interested. Colette asked a great question, and I really would love to hear from people. What are your favorite or most popular programs? Please share. And then Sunday in Thompson Falls shared Chess Club and Pokemon Club. Oh yeah. Movie Fridays. That sounds great. I've heard of that. Mary, can you tell us, is Movie Fridays something that you do all year round? I know a library up on the Highline does that because their school district recently went to 4 days a week. So Movie Fridays is something for kids to do if parents are still working on Fridays, but kids don't have school. So I don't know if that's related at all, but love Movie Friday.
We're not on a 4-day week yet. I suspect we will be soon. I think we'll move it to Wednesday afternoons, though. The kids, that's family night. And so oftentimes there's less practices, less activities, and that type of thing. It'd be a good place for kids to hang out right after school. Yeah, and it has worked well. We got a new smart board, and that has been really nice because that's probably why they come to watch, is because it's like 75 inches. So, and we don't have a lot of space. That would be one thing. It really prevents us from doing a lot of big programming. Pretty tiny area. Yeah.
People are popping things in the chat that are really great ideas for the Montana Library community to share. Book club, story time, pinochle, book bingo. I'm curious about that. We have coding club, Lego club. Oh, I do want to highlight Lego club. We offer a Lego challenge at the state library through the Montana History Portal. That's pretty fun to check out on that virtual trunks page. In Dillon, summer reading, woot woot, everybody, we made it. We made it to summer reading. Haunted Library, Santa and the Grinch, the annual Japanese festival, and then 2 large book sales. Very cool. Spring Fling and Bling. Marilyn shared there was a big loom at Flathead Community Library with different types of fabric that anyone could add to. Yes, community, any sort of community involvement. That's really cool because it doesn't require you to be at a specific time or place. You don't have to be there Wednesday at 5. You can come add to the loom Tuesday at 1 o'clock or Friday morning, anytime you're there and at the library. Those sorts of passive programs. Personally, I don't love the term passive program because it does not recognize the work that goes in advance on the behalf of the library staff. But programs that happen anytime the library is open tend to be really, really popular. So Yeah, Cindy, do you want to share with us about book bingo? I think I know, but I don't want to be incorrect. If you have a microphone and you'd like to share with us about book bingo, if not, I can read anything that's typed. And if not, if you walked away at this moment, that's okay too. Does anybody have a great program that they've been to? Maybe not one that they've hosted, but one that they've been to either in the past or at a different library on traveling, because I go to library programs when I travel. I've been to a book swap before and I thought that was really fun. Oh, Cindy responded, people take bingo cards, different types of reading in each square. When they get a bingo, they're entered to a drawing. Kids get a prize. Oh, thank you, Colette, for popping things in there. Thompson Falls Sunday said we used to live in the library where they did music on the mountains. It was always incredible. Yes, that's wonderful to hear music. I'm assuming that was outside, but I know that libraries also do inside music, which is really quite cool. I think it really challenges the stereotype, right, that libraries are quiet. And I know that can be hard for some patrons, but if it's advertised in advance, then maybe you know that the library has music from 3 to 5. That's not the quietest time to be there. Does anybody else want to share? Bobby asked a question, Annika's responding. Author talks, have authors ever expressed interest in expanding to other Montana libraries where they partner together when talented people speak at the library? That's really, really great. That's part of why we love library federations is because you get to know the people in your area a little bit better. There's that opportunity naturally to have those conversations either in person or online, so that libraries who might have similar interests, their communities might have similar programming interests, might be able to get an author come to one library and then the other, or maybe a communal spot that's sponsored by 2 or 3 libraries. Kim put something in the chat about genealogy at Great Falls Library. They do have a really nice Montana section genealogy department. And she got some great ideas, was there for 5 hours. Kim, I love you. I really love that. Genealogy can be really, really fun. People are really interested in their Montana roots or their roots in general, but I think especially Montana roots. Ukulele club, I'll be there. Me and my little twinkle twinkle. Never upset anyone. Ukulele is such a happy sound. I think if you're upset by the ukulele, which anybody can be, valid, but it sounds like you need a trip to Hawaii then. What else do we have to share about programs? Programming is so fun. I will say, Annika, when you said, oh, the trip to Hawaii, library sponsored, we wish. Everybody's reading a book set on Hawaiian Islands. Annika said something about programming specifically for adults versus programming for children. That can be a really hard distinction to make sometimes. When you make a cutoff, what's the age limit for programs? I worked in adult programming for a long, long time, and it definitely changes the energy of a group if it's suddenly open to teenagers as well. That being said, I've seen things offered at my home library that are only for teenagers that I would really like to go to. I don't go, but I just kind of file it away in my head as things I'd like to do someday. Does anybody need any? Oh, Clay, thank you for asking other questions. There's a couple questions, one from Mary. How does everyone get young adults, not teens, involved? Yes, that's a great, great question. Please, let's talk about that. We can also talk about feedback evaluations and programming suggestions. But young adults in the library is a topic I feel like we talk about a lot. Does anybody have any advice aside from food? I know teens and preteens love food. They love sugar. Who doesn't love sugar? Does anybody who's online have a really strong preteen group that hangs out in your library that you see coming to your programs or using your space? Oftentimes when libraries have specific space for their tween and teen population, that can naturally build that community. But we can't always change the buildings that we're in, or the buildings that we inherit, or the buildings structure within the inside. Chloe mentioned advisory group, just mentioned from the target audience or age group. I hear a lot about teen advisory groups, but what about tween advisory groups? Anybody have anything along those lines? Bozeman Public Library used to have a tween book club, middle grade. Annika shared in her after-school activities, they offer prizes with their games and has found that slime is a great all-age activity. Slime. Slimy. What else do people have to share about or have questions about? Stacy shared she's been buying big coloring sheets and setting them up in the preteen and teen space. Loved having that passive program this summer. Yep, just some free exploration. Hopefully it's been kept appropriate. Young and old beat the teens for summer reading program. So there's a summer reading challenge, it sounds like, in Dillon. Very fun. Okay, there's a community service requirement in Bighorn County for graduation, so they can add that to their programs. That's great. Yeah, teen volunteers can also be really a really cool way to get teens into the library. It's not in the same way as attending library programs, but offering teen volunteer opportunities can be a really cool way, I think, to get teenagers to become lifelong library people. I think a lot of people are library people when they're young, but can fall off as life gets busier. But yes, community service credits. I know some libraries have had a challenge. They don't offer volunteerism for community service requirements because the pool of libraries they already have, I'm sorry, the pool of volunteers they already have is prolific. People love their libraries, right? I would also say asking volunteers you have about special skills that they might want to share is a great way to get program ideas. You might find that you have somebody who does cross stitch who really wants to share their cross stitch techniques, or you've got somebody who's a local florist who wants to talk about, who's a volunteer at the library who wants to talk about flower arranging or canning and preserving. Really, there's endless opportunities. You've got somebody who volunteers whose husband might be a mechanic and can offer a class on changing a tire, something like that. Crochet, yes. And sometimes it's just starting it once and then finding that like-minded group and then saying, oh, look, we had a really popular fiber arts class. Now maybe we'll bring that same group together for fiber arts meetup every whatever day of the week. Can be really flexible and really fun. I could talk about programming forever, but I really want to know what people want to know, what questions that they have. A local tire shop in Dillon. Oh yeah, please interrupt me. Shut me up.
So Corey, one thing that you brought up were how a program can inspire other programs within the library when you build up a community for that. And when we were doing the last round of seed projects for creative aging, there was a writing group. I believe that one was in Glasgow. And they people who participated in that decided to just keep it going. And that's a really great way. If you bring someone in and you get a community response and they want to keep it going, there's a lot of potential to do that. And also knowing what your community likes, if something takes off, it doesn't have to be a one-time thing if you want to keep it going.
Whoops,
Sorry,
I was
Corey.
muted.
Oh, there you go.
I just said definitely. I was in agreement with you. Colette, Colette. Colette is dropping a bunch of links from libraries in the chat today, just sharing their calendars and their programs and what they're doing. I feel like I saw on here how to change tires and oil, and then pickleball and archery. If you have a pickleball court and you can partner with like somebody who has the pickleball equipment, like a Rex department or something like that, pickleball is sweeping the nation. So I can't recommend it enough. Not that I've ever played, but I can't recommend it enough as a program. Oh, you check out pickleball sets. That's awesome. That's so great. Yeah, pickleball, so popular. What else do people want to share about programming wise? We used to spend a long time talking about trying to balance the gender of who attended programs. A lot of programs weren't seeing a lot of male participants, so we were always trying to wonder what programs, try and program that might appeal to a male crowd, but it really is just programming, throwing spaghetti at the wall. Just kidding.
You know, another thing that's coming up with the artists for creative aging, it's still in the works. We're getting the scaffolding ready for this, but we are planning on hosting a little celebration of the arts sort of webinar thing where people can come in and meet the different artists in Montana who are willing to come to your library and teach a program. Pretty soon we will have a database of those artists and you can like search to see who is a teaching artist, and we're hoping to plop that thing right into Aspen, but we will have more information on that soon. But people are sometimes willing to travel. I know sometimes you're limited by whoever happens to be in your community, but yeah, we're getting a list ready so you have some folks you can contact for different kinds of programs.
We've got about 7 minutes left. Mary asked a question. Does anyone have a community needs cupboard? The food bank is only open on Monday mornings. Anybody on here, please chime in. I can speak to seeing some libraries who've done something like that. I know Shoto County Library in Fort Benton has something where people can pick up things like toothbrushes, toothpaste, food items, personal hygiene, that kind of thing. I think some libraries do that and maybe don't advertise it. Mary, I would recommend asking people at your federation meeting if they are doing anything like that, just to get an idea. Bozeman Library did something for a short period of time, but the need was too great for it to continue. I won't go into that too much, but a caricature artist, Kim, remind me to show you the caricature I got done a few weeks ago. Sundries in the restroom for those who need them. It's very common in children's areas to have diapers in the restroom or wipes or something like that. And sometimes people don't offer a community cupboard, but they have something if it's asked for, but that's not exactly the same thing. Huge need for personal hygiene in the restrooms. Yep, that's really a good offering that libraries can provide for their communities. What else do people have? Lots and lots of good ideas have been shared. Annika just mentioned a local church that offers lunch and partnering with them to have a donation spot. Good to hear everybody taking care of their communities. Libraries, right? Oh, you couldn't see it, but I put my hand over my heart.
And our chat has been so rich with great ideas and links in that. I just wanted to mention as we're starting to wrap up that I'll be putting together an information guide that kind of delves into all of the things that you've shared and the ideas from our speakers. So look on the Aspen event later today, and you will see an information guide as well as the recording from today's session. This, I think just for me to kind of sum up what I think about and what I'm hearing about program is that it really is a reflection of your community, and you've come up with so many creative ways to help people to gather together using the library space, using the library resources around the interests that that community has. So I just think it is so cool that we got so many ideas from across the state. And hopefully, in thinking about the roadmap to excellence, all of the things that you shared are really part of that journey that you have in changing and meeting the needs of the community in really creative ways. So we can't thank you enough for sharing the information that you have with us today. I will drop the evaluation link into the chat here in just a second. But as Corey has said, and Bobby as well, reach out to your consultants. They can connect you with resources. They can connect you with other people in other libraries from around the state who are doing a program or doing something that you might be able to build from or to adapt in your own way for your community. So with that, I am going to be quiet and I will drop the link in the chat here. But thanks so much to Annika and all of your expertise. Thank you to everybody for sharing and being willing to put things down that others can benefit from. So with that, thanks so much. And we look forward to seeing you at an upcoming webinar.